I think there is even like sometimes a misunderstanding leadership versus being a manager. Because I think everyone can become a manager like through a title or you get promoted, in the company hierarchy. But leadership is not really about titles. I would say it's really about creating, followers. Leading by example, and then making sure that you hopefully have people that are following you. I mean, that's true leadership. I think anyone can be a leader, and honestly, I mean, it is not about who is formally reporting into you. Again through the kind of the hierarchy, but I think that's I wouldn't say misunderstanding maybe, but it's definitely something where leaders, are you a true leader or are you a manager? That's kind of number one. And sometimes I think maybe people say it's glamorous, right? I mean, from the outside, leadership can look great and shiny, like there's titles and there's big decisions and you have certain visibility. But in reality, it also means that making sometimes really tough calls, having uncomfortable conversations, and also sometimes carrying a responsibility even like when outcomes are not guaranteed. It is incredibly rewarding, but yeah, sometimes you can't really fully understand it until you are truly in the role.
It sounds like what you're saying is, in an ideal world, you become a leader first and then a manager, or leadership first and then titles will follow. Ideally, that's the better way of looking at it, because it makes you a better leader and manager.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I said, manager is just kind of on paper. I mean, leadership is more, the behavioral aspect of it. Yeah.
And you just, I suppose you touched on it slightly. I mean, in leadership, we have ups and downs, and as a leader, I suppose you have to work out how do you maintain the balance between, I suppose, on the one side, the human vulnerability and dealing with setbacks, and we spoke about failure or kind of trial runs, however you want to call it. And on the other side, I suppose, being a professional leader and pursuing the goal that either you've set yourself or that the company set yourself. How do you strike that balance?
I mean, I think when you look at the two things, it's not really like an opposite. I would say in most cases, like being real and being true to yourself, that kind of comes then. If you are that, it should come natural with obviously being professional. I mean, I'll admit some things are tough, and obviously I don't have all the answers, but I'll try to pair that with like the direction on how to move forward. I mean, I'm pretty much the same person, honestly, both in my personal life and in my professional life. Obviously, from professional perspective, we have goals to achieve. We are going in a certain direction. But it doesn't mean that you can't be vulnerable or you can't share personal, things along the way. And I mean, you also need to find that balance in every situation. You have, your professional life and you have your personal self. So combining those two is in an authentic way, I think is really, really important.
I suppose not everybody, and maybe it's a career thing, maybe it's a maturity thing, maybe it's a personality thing, but I suppose not everyone is always themselves exactly the same way they are at home versus at work. And I think what I'm hearing you say is that if you can have that, if you are the same person, it actually makes the leadership side easier, because you're not pretending, you're not putting on a facade, right? Is that right?
Yeah, and also I think it's about like the level of energy, like I mean, at least I can only speak for myself, obviously, but if I would be someone else at work, I would probably need to put a lot of energy to sort of maintain or keep that, let's say, personality or that character. And for me, that would be, let's say, too much hard work or energy put into something that potentially might not be as rewarding. So, I mean, obviously there is a nuance here, right? I mean, in a in a personal context, there are situations that you might react slightly different to, and the professional agenda and what we are to achieve as a company, and how you collaborate to communicate with your team or your peers, etc. It's obviously maybe slightly more polished in some areas, but I truly try to bring myself to the table and to the meetings, and it just helped me, I think, to kind of channel, I guess, my energy in a way that I'm not pretending to be one person at work and then I'm someone totally different at home.